Good evening, Tauruses. Welcome to Kiki's Doorway. Let's see what our past lives or past life want us to relive for August 16th to the 23rd, 2018 of August. I see last week we have faced the things that we consider as conflict and battles within ourselves, within that masculine and feminine side of ourselves. We're starting to find ways to merge and mend the masculine side of ourselves and the actions that it wants to take with the feminine side of ourselves and the actions and the action that it wants to take. We're finding ways to gel them in, making them into one unit, into one being, in accepting both of ourselves and not dismissing one for the other. So let's see what we should be reliving for August 16th to the 23rd. God, Gaia, God, Goddess, Mother, Father. What does Taurus past life want us to relive for August 16th to August 23rd? What does our past life want us to relive for August 16th? Okay. What action will Taurus take for August 16th to August 23rd, 2018? What action in August for August 16th to August 23rd will Taurus be taking? What action will Taurus take for August 16th to August 23rd? What will be Taurus action to take? Okay. Mr. and Miss Taurus, our past life want us to relive. Wow. That we have ancient ties to Egypt. Mr. and Miss Taurus, I think I said this in July. I believe so. That we are the Pharoahs of ancient Egypt. That people came to us to show them the steps, principles, arts, and way of life to have a healthy civilization. And to have a healthy civilization, Mr. and Miss Taurus, we had to learn how to have that healthy balance within ourselves first, before the people gave us that titlement of being a pharaoh. We had to first see within ourselves that when we had conflict of the masculine and feminine side of ourselves, we learned how to mend them and see them as one and not two. We see them as one. Yes, two bodies of individual, but their actions is one and the same. You couldn't tell which one was which. That's how ancient Egypt seen Taurus, us as Taurus people. When they granted us that position as Pharaoh, they seen that we had a level and a balance of our masculine and feminine principles, of our masculine feminine principles, of our spiritual side and religious side of ourselves, of our material desires and our spiritual wants and needs, of our childlike innocence and the physical makeup of how we interact with innocence through others and through children as well. Mr. and Miss Taurus, we're now stepping into that higher being of ourselves. And a higher being of ourselves want us to relive that Pharaoh side of ourselves. What Pharaoh would you relive in the now? And why would you want to relive that particular Pharaoh? That will give you the energy, grace, youthfulness, practice, and principles to tie in, to make Gaia, to make Source within you and outside of you complete. We are starting to see why we had conflict in our lives as Taurus people. Taurians, we are fixed sign. So in order for us to learn the true value of change, we had to have people in our lives to exude the very thing that we are. So now that we starting to see that the conflict was really not with the opposite sex or with people in our lives, it was within us. It was something within us that we felt should be dismissed, should not be looked at, should not be risen up, should not be birthed out. But now we're starting to see that those are the very things that we need to have in our lives to make us feel whole. Because when, as Taurus people, when we deny one part of ourselves, when we interact with others that show or portray that they have their whole selves, we start to feel inadequate. We start to feel not in touch with our true selves. And when that happens, the shallow or coldness of ourselves begins to rise up. And the source that we have within ourselves becomes like ice instead. And we don't want that. We want it to cool us off, to unravel the directions that make us our complete selves. The actions that we will be taking, Mr. Mrs Taurus. Wow, we're tapping into our Sagittarian side of ourselves, the number 9. We're bringing out that fire. And a lot of times for Tauruses, we feel that our fire might be too harsh or might be too strong. But we're realizing it's that strength and that courage of our desire and our passions that gravitate people towards us. They start to see us how they see our opposite side of ourselves, which is Scorpio. They start to see us as father figures, as mother figures, as the God, goddess of source in human form. They start to see us as shepherd and no longer sheep. And even when they see us as sheep, they see us as a shepherd dressed in sheep's clothing. Because at times we realize that our shepherd aura might make people that come into our lives feel judged or feel like they will be judged, until they get to know us and realize that we do not judge, but we love unconditionally. Now we're starting to figure out how to bring that side out of us, that passionate side, that spiritual side, that masculine feminine energies in one, that Pharaoh side of ourselves, that source side of ourselves. So we should not give up, Mr. and Mrs Taurus. We're at the cusp of transformation, of elevation. Protect that which you have created. We still look to ancient Egypt for principles, practices, and understanding of humanity, of ourselves. So if we were the blueprint of ancient Egypt, in the now we are going to become that once more. So we must have courage and believe in ourselves. Believe in yourself, Mr. and Mrs Taurus. You are the gatekeepers of the soul. You help us to not only appreciate our soul, but appreciate the vessel that we have aligned our soul with in learning and rediscovering about ourselves. The next action we will take in self-discovery and self-knowing is the 4th air. This We have balanced that masculine, feminine, and spiritual side of ourselves. Now is the time to rest. This horse is strong. Our will, our masculine, and our feminine and spiritual side of ourselves are very strong, hardy, and healthy. Now that we have all of them aligned, it's time to not be afraid of it. Time to rest or take a vacation. Allow more time